All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive blueprint for how India is tackling one of the single most critical challenges of our time. We're talking about that incredibly delicate tightrope walk between rapid, high-paced AI innovation and robust public safety. We're going to explore the India AI Governance Guidelines, which is essentially a master framework designed to ensure that as artificial intelligence completely redefines our productivity, it actually remains safe, inclusive, and a force for good.
Look at the core vision here. The goal is AI for all. And this isn't just about building the world's fastest computers. It's about taking that massive scale and tying it directly to genuine societal inclusion. The overarching goal is to use AI as a force multiplier to hit that national aspiration of Viksit Bharat by 2047. We're talking about real-world impact, revolutionizing diagnostics and rural healthcare, delivering personalized education in local languages, and seriously boosting climate resilience for farmers.
So here is our game plan for this explainer. First, the core dilemma and vision. Second, the operational pillars. And third, impact and global leadership. Let's get into it. Starting with Section 1, the core dilemma and vision. This is all about balancing fast-paced innovation with public trust. Think of this as the ultimate balancing act. On one hand, you have the immense promise of AI to totally redefine human prosperity, things like smart farming and instant digital payments. But contrasting with that futuristic tech, you have profound, inherent systemic risks. We're dealing with the spread of deepfakes, algorithmic biases, rampant misinformation, and very real national security threats. So the million-dollar question this framework asks is, how do you harness that promise without letting the risks run wild? While India's core strategic choice is loud and clear, innovation over restraint. Basically, they are favoring safe, agile experimentation rather than imposing heavy, slow, bureaucratic licensing that could totally strangle growth. It's a light-touch, pro-innovation approach. Maximize the economic benefits, maximize the digital inclusion, but keep a very close, smart eye on safety. Moving right along to Section 2, the operational pillars. How does this policy actually work in practice? At the very heart of this operational architecture are the 7 Guiding Sutras. These form the absolute ethical bedrock of the entire policy. We're talking trust, people first, fairness, accountability, and the brilliant part is, these principles are completely technology agnostic. So whether we're dealing with healthcare AI today or quantum-assisted AI tomorrow, these rules apply. They ensure the tech stays human-centric no matter how fast we innovate. Let's zoom in on one of these to see how it works in reality. Understandable by design. What does that actually mean? Well, it means trust isn't just an afterthought. It's not a sticker you slap on a product at the very end of the line. Even though AI systems are wildly complex, they must have clear explanations built right into them. Users and regulators absolutely need to understand how the system works and what the developers actually intended it to do. Taking it from philosophy to boots-on-the-ground action, the framework breaks down into 3 clear operational flows. Step 1 is enablement through massive infrastructure. Step 2 is regulation for targeted risk mitigation. And Step 3 is accountability through highly specialized institutions. Let's talk about that infrastructure for a second, because it is massive. To put the sheer scale of this into perspective, 38,231. That is the number of subsidized GPUs being made available to startups, researchers, and developers. On top of that, there's a secure cluster of 3,000 next-gen GPUs being built specifically for sovereign and strategic applications. And they are pushing this capacity out through more than 570 AI data labs across Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. This is heavy, sovereign infrastructural investment to ensure India isn't left behind by a few global tech giants. But it's not just about the hardware, right? Enter the iKosh platform. This is an unprecedented democratization of data. We're talking 1,500 datasets and over 200 AI models spanning 20 different sectors. Innovators finally have the regional datasets they need to build models tailored to India's unique linguistic and cultural diversity. And crucially, it's all permission-based, meaning data contributors actually keep control over how their data is used. Now, this brings us to a fascinating contrast. How do you govern all this capability? Traditional compliance is notoriously slow, right? Just buried in paperwork. Instead, India's framework is pivoting hard toward techno-legal solutions. Think about the massive success of digital public infrastructure, or DPI, like UPI and Aadhaar. The goal here is to build governance directly into the digital architecture itself, make risk management automated, standardized, and scalable for billions of users. Welcome to the code as law paradigm. This is literally embedding safety right into the software architecture. We are talking about automated flowcharts and guardrails, things like deepfake detection, privacy-enhancing techniques, machine unlearning, and continuous algorithmic auditing. They protect users automatically right in the code without tangling developers up in endless red tape. To keep all those techno-legal guardrails sharp, you need a serious institutional backbone. So you have the newly instituted AI Safety Institute operating on a hub-and-spoke model to constantly research and test for emerging threats. Then, the AI Governance Group and the Technology and Policy Expert Committee handle the strategic oversight. It is a fully scientifically informed ecosystem ready to tackle risks the second they pop up. Which brings us to our final section, impact and global leadership. What does this mean for the Global South? If you are a developer or a business watching this, the expectation is crystal clear. Innovate your heart out, but stay accountable. Ensure compliance, adopt those voluntary frameworks, and publish your transparency reports. And most importantly, build in those human-in-the-loop mechanisms at critical decision points, so AI outputs can actually be reviewed by a person before they cause any harm. On the flip side, the marching orders for regulators are pretty refreshing. They're essentially told to empower their sectors, whether that's agriculture or healthcare, without strangling the underlying AI tech. Regulators need to avoid compliance-heavy regimes and instead champion those flexible, techno-legal approaches that get reviewed periodically. Keep it agile, keep it future-ready. So what does the timeline look like? In the short term, it's all about capacity building and rolling out voluntary safeguards. Medium term, they fully operationalize the AI Safety Institute and lock in those technical standards. And long term, the vision is for India to represent these perspectives in international forums, offering a highly inclusive, replicable DPI blueprint for the entire Global South to follow. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative thought. This framework proves that while innovation absolutely builds the future, governance is what builds the trust we actually need to get there. In a world where code and law are literally becoming one and the same, and platforms like AI Kosh are blowing the doors off data access, is your organization and is your data truly ready for the AI revolution? Thanks for exploring this with me.